Hey guys, so I wanted to do something a little bit different today. I wanted to talk about pain. We're going to talk about pain and chronic pain. When I was a little kid, I remember, I say a little kid, I was probably 12 or 13. I remember hearing one of my father's lectures on pain. And he was, I guess, transcribing a lecture from his day at the office, and he was playing a little cassette tape that he had recorded. And in that in that lecture, he was talking about the pain gate theory. And that's a theory that kind of like we see on a busy day on the highway where too many cars get on the highway and it doesn't go anywhere. Same with pain as you look at your nervous system like the freeway system. And as long as there's no pain or a little pain, everything flows freely. And then if you have like a speeder zipping through there, and we would, make that equal to a painful sensation, you get that right away. That speeder gets right on through and crashes or whatever he does. I guess for pain we would call it. He would say that the car smashed up. Anyway, then if you get a lot of traffic on the road, that speeder can't even get through. And so he doesn't ever crash. He never gets through he never builds up the speed. And that's kind of like pain gate theory. It basically says that if you put enough non-painful stimulation on a nerve that's receiving pain, you'll overwhelm that nerve with non-painful stimuli, and therefore you won't get the pain. And that theory is held up through the years. Now this is 2024, and it's still accepted. And you see these devices out on the market, the TENS machines, and even a massage, or the old thing like in football, somebody would get smashed up a little bit and get up holding their arm or something, and you go rub some dirt on it, and really it had worked. The dirt didn't have anything to do with it, but when you rubbed it vigorously, you could kind of disguise the pain. It wouldn't feel so bad. And massages and chiropractors and all that does that. You put non-painful stimuli and you give it the nerve too much to work with, and so it blocks the pain. But that's not really what I wanted to, the way I wanted to talk about this. But that lecture it brought up several points that I thought about through the years. I never knew I'd be a chronic pain person myself all those years ago. But I did. I had a bad accident when I was in my early 20s. I was 21. And I was framing houses. I fell off a house and I broke both my heels and my pelvis and some vertebrae and blew out the discs. And, well, I've got through life very good, but it's always been a pain in the rear, literally. And as age has caught up with me, so is some of the pain. And so, attitude has a lot to do with it. And I wanted to talk about that. Talk about placebo, because placebo is a real deal. And, you know, the standard explanation is you give somebody a sugar pill, and even though the pill has no therapeutic value, but it it heals. It does its job that a normal medicine would do. And it's it's not only that you don't if you believe or don't believe. There's been studies done where people were told they were getting a placebo, and the placebo still worked. So it's a mysterious thing how all that works. And it's not only on pain, it's on disease, it's on everything. You know, placebo is powerful. So is the nocebo, the opposite effect. If you're if you're convinced that a drug will not work, it's not going to work in that nocebo scenario. Not everybody would experience that, but they don't know exactly why that works that way either. But you know, with when a person is experiencing pain, you know, especially a younger person, that pain might be seen as something good. You know, besides it's alerting your body to ongoing injuries or something. You know, don't put your finger on the fire or something like that. Not only that, but there's psychological effects of pain as well, and you might relate a pain to a benefit in areas psychologically, like, well, if I'm in pain, I don't have to go to school, or I don't have to go to work, or I get some drugs that make me feel better, or these kind of things work in those placebo, nocebo type situations as well. And it's incredible how important the psychology is to pain. There's been several instances when I have been enjoying myself, like fishing or something, and just forgot that I was in pain. Of course, paid for it later, but you can literally forget, even if you're in a lot of pain. Your adrenaline and other chemicals in your brain can overcome, and you'll forget. On the other hand, if you're dwelling on your pain, it's going to get worse, I guarantee you. And if you go around telling everybody how bad it hurts, you're just convincing your subconscious that this is really bad, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And so it's best not to dwell on it, and it's best, if you can, and if it's not critical, you know, I'm not saying that you have to lie to everybody, but it's really best for you if you kind of keep that to yourself as much as you can. And that isn't always possible, because, you know, when somebody asks how you're doing and you're obviously grimacing in pain, and you say, I'm fine, I'm fine, well, they know you're not being truthful, and a lot of people, most people, will call you out on it and say, you don't look so fine, something like that anyway. But if in casual conversation and stuff, you can avoid it. Just don't mention it. Don't think about it. Keep your mind off of the pain. Think about anything but that. And when you go to talk to your doctor, that's the time to be honest and try to explain the best you can what's really happening. Don't try to exaggerate your pain. because you want them to believe you. Doctors will believe you if you just tell them. You don't have to go in there and do some acting job. As a matter of fact, that's when you're likely to not be believed, because most people aren't very good actors. And if a doctor sees that you're acting it out, that they're gonna attribute it to drug seeking or something like that. So just be honest. Talk to them like they're your mother or your dad or somebody. That's the best I can tell you with your doctor visit. Just be completely honest as you can. Of course, a lot of times when you go to the doctor's office, your mind goes completely blank and you can't remember all the details. So it's probably good to make a note when you're having particular type pains. Make note of it. Where it's at, how it's affecting you, things like that. The things that you're normally going to forget the details of when you're sitting there face to face with your doctor. And that's the stuff they need. And we can think of pain. I said it's important to your body. It's an alarm system. It keeps you informed when you're messing up. If you continue to hold your hand over the fire, you're going to have problems. So, in that sense, it's really good for you. And then in ways that you might not even think of, that when you do a lot of exercise, you get sore, your muscles ache. And the old saying, no pain, no gain. So what I'm getting at is, in everyday life, our bodies are being damaged every day with just about everything you do. And your body can cope with that because it's gonna release chemicals, painkillers, natural painkillers in your brain, endorphins, and just different chemicals, painkillers. And so the next morning when you wake up after exercising, you may feel sore and stuff, but as you get up and start moving around and those natural painkillers get released, all of a sudden you don't feel near as bad. Midway through the day, you're doing good. Maybe at the end of the day, it's sore again as they've wore off. But what happens when a person is in pain for long periods of time is that system gets overwhelmed. It gets used up. And your body can't produce enough natural painkillers to get through everyday daily activities. And so you become kind of hypersensitive to all kinds of activities. You might expect something to cause you pain, and that will amplify it. Back to that psychology of pain and everything. So there's chronic pain that will feed off itself, just like I'm talking about, where you've used up all these endorphins in your brain and other hormones and chemicals, and you start to get oversensitive to pain. And that will feed on itself. It'll cause you to lose sleep, and the lack of sleep will make the pain worse, and your mind will start running on thinking about this pain, and it's just a loop. It's a loop in pain. So there's also another kind of chronic pain where you've got ongoing injury, like a person that's knee cartilage is wore out and gone, and you got bone to bone, so every time that person walks, you're causing more and more damage. It's like on your car, if your brake pads are wore out, so every time you use your brake, it's causing more and more damage, and there's no way to fix that without putting new brake pads on. And these days they can put new cartilage in, and that's the way the back is too. You know, you in really bad situations you could get artificial discs installed, or fusions, or maybe they just trim the disc material up enough where it doesn't touch the nerves. But that type of chronic pain is different from the one that is just mainly psychological, where you started out with a bad injury and then you became oversensitive to pain. So there are two different monsters there. And if you know which one you have, you're going to have an easier time to try to figure out how you're going to deal with the pain. If it's ongoing things, you're going to have to modify your movements. Maybe use braces or something like that, and try to immobilize it without some kind of invasive medical operation. Otherwise, there's pain medicines and stuff. I can tell you a psychological story about pain medicine though. There was a time when I was out in the woods, and I was having a lot of pain, and I remembered that I had some pain medicine in my first aid kit in the Jeep. So it was almost dark, and I opened the first aid kit, and I had these different type of medicines in baggies, and with a Marxalite, I wrote on the baggie what they were. That way they would all fit inside my first aid kit. I could get more stuff in there. You know, when you put a bottle of pills in there, it takes up a whole lot of room. Anyway, I fumbled around through the first aid kit, and I found the pain medicine. I couldn't really read what it said, but I could see the shape was correct and everything, the shape and the color. And I took those, and you know, and within an hour or so, I was feeling a lot better. And it wasn't until the next day that I realized that I was taking Tylenol, thinking I was taking a strong medicine, and it worked just as good as the strong medicine. So that was a placebo effect. And I think I'm particularly vulnerable to placebo effect, because I've noticed it through the years that things can work on me that really shouldn't have. So let's see. So we've talked about pain gate. We've talked about how to speak to your doctor about it. Kind of, I've tried to explain, you know, the way that the body produces its own painkillers and how those can be overwhelmed. And I guess I've covered the most part. The biggest part is the psychological thing. If you're always concentrating on your pain, you're going to just make it worse. There's, you know, I've had this for, like I said, I injured myself when I was 21. I've had 3 back surgeries over the years, and I'm 68 now. I've had it all my life. So I've seen a lot of things in this arena, and I guarantee you, attitude and mental framing is your most important, the very most important thing to consider. Lie to yourself as much as you can. Tell yourself when you got that internal dialogue going, and oh, that hurt. No. So, oh no, that it might have hurt for a second, but it's better now. Oh yeah, it's better than it was. Oh yeah, it's getting better and better. Just change that dialogue is what I'm saying. Just run the reverse dialogue in your mind every chance you get. And that trick works with everything. Any behavior that you are having that you want to change, lie to yourself. Your subconscious brain doesn't realize when you're lying and when you're not. It will take anything you repeat over and over as the truth, and it will react to it appropriately. Whatever you're programming in is what you're going to get. If you don't believe that you can do that, that your subconscious mind is running the show in a big way, think about when you've told yourself, well, I've had enough cake for the week. I'm not going to eat any more cake. I'm not going to have any more sweets or cookies or anything like that. And then you sit down and you start going through your mind, man, I wish I had some of that stuff. Sure does sound good. And that starts running in your mind. And then the next time you're in the kitchen, not even thinking about it, you just automatically grab a cookie and shove it in your mouth. And you didn't even think about it. Your subconscious just did it. You go, oh, you want a cookie? And throws it at you. You don't believe me? It happens. Watch yourself. Pay attention. You'll see it happening. When you talk about your subconscious, it's very powerful. Let's say you go to a movie and you're all into it. Your subconscious doesn't realize that it's just a movie, that you're not there. For all your subconscious knows is that you're there. Those things are happening. That's real. You don't believe me? You go watch a scary movie and you get scared. Even though your conscious mind understands that this is a movie, your subconscious mind doesn't know that. And that's why you get scared or emotional or whatever it is. And, that's the way we work. When you understand that, you've got the world by the balls. I shouldn't say that. But when you understand that, things will go your way more than not. All right, I'm gonna end it there, And I'm going to make another video about throat cancer. If you know anybody that's newly diagnosed with throat cancer, first of all, you better subscribe and get a notification so you'll know when it comes up, but then share it with them, because I learned a whole lot that I wish I had known the days and weeks after my diagnosis. And you know, I'm still learning, and it's been over 11 years now. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you made it this long, you're a trooper. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. See you next time.